every arena. So, and then when you, clearly she's not remembering who they let out to get her back.
The Merchant of Death.
The Merchant of Death. An arms dealer that wanted to kill American citizens, according to the reports.
A celebrated WNBA veteran, a player recently pulled from the brink of international catastrophe, just dropped an astonishing bombshell. She accused the enthusiastic new fan base of superstar rookie Caitlin Clark of harboring light racism. This explosive claim from a figure whose dramatic rescue captivated the nation immediately ignited outrage across the sports world, but it was the blistering public takedown by a titan of commentary that truly exposed the raw, uncomfortable truth about a league now standing at a profound crossroads. What really fueled this shocking accusation, and why did it prompt such a fierce, direct rebuke, revealing a deeper, high-stakes battle for the very soul of women's basketball?
What the hell is going on with WNBA that they cannot handle all this attention that they're getting, as well as the hate and anger towards Caitlin Clark?
For countless seasons, the WNBA existed in a quieter, almost understated realm. It was a league passionately championed by dedicated fans, often drawing modest attendance, where the fundamental rhythm of the game itself was the primary focus, perhaps even serving as a familiar backdrop to other leisurely activities. Then something seismic shifted, violently altering the landscape. A rookie sensation named Caitlin Clark exploded onto the scene, not merely playing basketball, but fundamentally transforming the very essence of the sport.
But now it's like there's large gatherings of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score, like we're there for their entertainment. You are. The whole thing is toxic. I saw a guy with his daughter in the crowd, both of them yelling, couldn't hear what they were saying exactly, but it was either my performance or some light racism.
Her record-shattering performances, her almost supernatural confidence, and her audacious, fearless range from anywhere on the court utterly captivated millions who had, until then, paid little to no attention to the WNBA. Suddenly, arenas that once echoed with scattered applause began to roar, packed to the rafters, vibrant with an electrifying energy previously unseen. Ticket prices soared to unheard-of levels, viewership records shattered repeatedly, and the league found itself thrust into an unprecedented, blinding spotlight, a true cultural moment.
While this is taking place, Brittney Griner comes out and says, I am so sick and tired of the WNBA. It used to be a peaceful, small little thing. Now there's crowds screaming, hollering. This is disruptive. It's not allowing us to play the game.
But amidst this surging, transformative wave of attention, a deeply discordant, unsettling note emerged. It came from a well-known WNBA veteran, a player whose own recent journey had, in a dramatic twist of fate, become a global spectacle. Instead of wholeheartedly embracing this newfound thrilling excitement, she voiced profound discomfort, a distinct sense of intrusion into what she apparently considered a once peaceful, almost private domain. While reflecting on the burgeoning crowds, she zeroed in on a seemingly innocent, heartwarming moment, a father and daughter cheering wildly from the stands. Her chilling, bizarre interpretation, their enthusiasm, their joyful engagement, their very presence, she alleged, represented some bizarre, insidious form of light racism. Yes, you heard that correctly.
Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. She says WNBA games used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done.
She shockingly linked genuine fan excitement to racial bias, sparking an immediate, widespread firestorm of confusion, disbelief, and profound offense. How, many wondered, could the joyous, loud expressions of new supporters be twisted into something so insidious, so racially charged? The backlash was swift, widespread, and unforgiving. Many felt her comments were profoundly dismissive, an outright slap in the face to the very audience the WNBA was now so desperately trying to cultivate, convert, and ultimately rely upon for its future.
In her defense, she's never seen fans before, Stephen A. Smith. They've never been at the games. They've never had fans. Now she has crowds, and she's wondering.
She was at Baylor.
before she came to the WNBA.
Imagine the jarring scenario. A new wave of fans, drawn in by Clark's electrifying performances, showing up hyped about the game, only to be branded in such a strange, accusatory way. For casual viewers, especially those completely new to the league's culture, the veteran's words felt like a direct, unwarranted assault. After all, boisterous, passionately vocal audiences are not just normal in the context of professional sports. They are celebrated indeed. They are the very lifeblood of the spectacle. From packed NBA arenas to raucous college games, vocal fans are the engine that drives the energy.
This is why the WNBA is never, ever, ever going to work and never make money. And this is exactly what Caitlin Clark gets for bending the knee.
Why then was this any different for the WNBA? Her assertion that games used to be a chill, quiet place where you could bring your laptop and relax seemed jarringly out of touch with the very essence of competitive sport, a bizarre expectation in a high-stakes professional arena. The timing only intensified the outrage. Her return to the WNBA had been heralded as a moment of triumph, a powerful resurgence for both her and the league.
Before she ever came along, there were a lot of outstanding basketball players who happened to be black females that was doing their thing on the WNBA level. And they never got this kind of shine.
After her dramatic release from a foreign prison in a high-stakes prisoner exchange, most fans expected gratitude, excitement, and a renewed embrace of the game and the immense fan base that had rallied passionately for her return. Instead of focusing on the overwhelming support she'd received, she chose to lament about noise levels, a trivial complaint for a league desperately trying to capitalize on its burgeoning, once unimaginable popularity. It set the stage for an inevitable, explosive confrontation, pulling back the curtain on a deeply uncomfortable reality.
And then you have a lot of folks that have come to the defense of numerous WNBA players because they were pointing out, like, this has been going on before long and people are not hating on her. It's not about hating on her. It's that you feel she is getting a level of attention that you deserved and you warranted long before she ever came along.
The true catalyst behind this unprecedented boost in attention, however, is undeniably Caitlin Clark. Her meteoric rise to stardom has injected an almost unimaginable vibrant energy into the WNBA. Whether people are captivated by her record-setting scoring, her audacious three-point range, or her fiery, relentless competitive spirit, she is pulling in new fans at an astonishing, ceaseless rate. These are the very fans the veteran player criticized. The ones cheering a little louder, watching the games more closely, investing their hard-earned time and money in a league that once struggled for even a shred of mainstream recognition.
Stephen A. Smith calls out the players in this league for their views, their hatred towards Caitlin Clark. I don't agree with a lot of what Stephen A. Smith's got to say, but when it comes to Caitlin Clark, he's been very, very on point and very, very fair.
Before Clark's arrival, many outstanding players, particularly black females, had graced the WNBA stage, yet they never garnered this specific widespread level of public fascination. Instead of welcoming this surging tide of enthusiasm as a collective, transformative win for everyone involved, the veterans' comments painted these vital supporters as part of some underlying problem. Whether intentional or not, she seemed to alienate the very crowd helping the league achieve its long-sought, elusive growth. By bizarrely framing genuine fan enthusiasm as light racism, she inadvertently injected a toxic tension where none was needed, creating an unnecessary, damaging distance instead of powerfully bridging the gap.
Brittney Griner was in a Russian prison. You would think that somebody who is now free, back in America on home soil, would not have too much to complain about, especially something like this.
This simmering undercurrent of perceived resentment from some veteran players towards Clark's immediate, undeniable spotlight had long been whispered about in hushed tones, but the veteran's comments dragged it violently into the harsh, unforgiving light of day. It was then that a powerful, unvarnished voice, known for pulling no punches, stepped in to deliver a truth bomb so profound, so devastating, it left no room for debate.
That's who they let out. For her. You would think that you would be smiling, you would be ecstatic, you would be happy, and something like this wouldn't faze you at all. The fact that it does.
Stephen A. Smith, the outspoken, unyielding titan of sports commentary, didn't hold back. His response to the WNBA veteran's controversial comments wasn't just a critique, it was a brutal public reality check for her and for anyone watching. Smith's take wasn't merely about fan behavior or simple misunderstandings. He dug straight into the much bigger picture, pulling absolutely no punches as he delivered a stinging reminder of the extraordinary, almost unthinkable measures taken to bring her home from a foreign nation.
It's actually good because it provokes a level of hostility, which elevates the competitive fervor. And y'all go out there and compete, and everybody gets paid. But unfortunately, you almost feel like you have some folks within the WNBA that would rather not be in a very fruitful position because of their
She was in a Russian prison, Smith thundered, his voice laced with incredulity, the weight of his words hanging heavy in the air. You would think that somebody who is now free back in America on home soil would not have too much to complain about, especially something like this. He wasn't just stating a fact, he was setting a damning, undeniable context, a backdrop of immense sacrifice against which her comments felt monstrously out of place.
fans in every sport. She described the fans.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what sport you are. It doesn't matter what sport you pick. That's how fans act in every arena. In every arena.
The prisoner swap involving Victor Bout, the infamous Merchant of Death, a notorious arms dealer who had allegedly expressed desires to harm American citizens, wasn't just headline news. It was an extraordinary, high-stakes maneuver by the US government to secure the veteran's life and freedom. And now, Smith asked, his voice dripping with utter disbelief, this is how she chooses to thank everyone? By calling cheering fans racist? Smith framed her frustration with WNBA crowds as utterly tone-deaf and profoundly ungrateful, especially considering the unparalleled privilege and protection afforded to her by the US government in securing her release.
You think there weren't players that weren't jealous of Michael Jordan? That didn't resent Michael Jordan? Okay? Ask the Detroit Pistons how they felt about Michael Jordan and how much they enjoyed beating him up before he ultimately captured the championship. Eventually, he got tired of getting his ass kicked.
That's who they let out. For her, Smith emphasized, the weight of the words underscoring the enormity of the sacrifice made. You would think that you would be smiling, you would be ecstatic, you would be happy, and something like this wouldn't faze you at all. The fact that it does. Smith couldn't ignore the staggering, almost nauseating irony of her complaint. She had endured the unimaginable, agonizing months in a Russian prison, facing a severe, life-altering sentence, only to return to complain about fans being too loud.
This girl, the Golden Goose, comes along, and she wreaks havoc. She's the Rookie of the Year. She's 4th in the league in MVP voting. 4th in the league, her rookie year.
Wow.
Outstanding. She's like Steph Curry. She could pull up from anywhere. You understand? She has that kind of capability.
What made it even more galling, according to Smith, was that these weren't just any fans. These were people genuinely excited to see someone like Caitlin Clark, a player whose electrifying rise had finally truly put the league on the map in ways previously thought impossible. Yet the veteran's comments seemed to inexplicably reduce that vital, empowering enthusiasm to something far uglier, something inherently racial, casting a dark shadow over the league's brightest moment.
And Angel Reese and Brittney Griner, they walk around like the league owes them something. Even Ryan Clark's attitude as if, bro, where's the victimhood? These are freaking millionaires. Like, what are you talking about? It's attitude, it's no humility, just entitlement, and that's not confidence, it's arrogance with receipts.
For fans who had perhaps never attended a WNBA game before, drawn in by the irresistible allure of Clark, the veteran's tone might have felt like a direct, deeply personal attack. What truly resonated and captivated the public was Smith's blunt, uncompromising refusal to entertain the preposterous notion that cheering could somehow be racist, especially in the context of professional sports. Fans yelling, jumping, and waving their arms aren't just normal, they are the very essence of the spectator experience, the expected vibrant tapestry of a game.
If you want fans, if you want your league to grow, act like a professional, okay? The league already started underwater, and instead of fixing it, they're just poking more holes in the boat. And think about it, Brittney Griner talking all that trash. We traded the Merchant of Death for your ass and you're out there talking shit and saying racist shit on the freaking sideline, and it's disgusting. Okay, that's why nobody watches it.
It doesn't matter what sport you are, it doesn't matter what sport you pick, Smith declared, his voice resolute. That's how fans act in every arena. He underscored that professional sports thrive on emotional, vocal audiences. That raw energy drives any game, from a championship final to a smaller league matchup. What unequivocally doesn't work, Smith forcefully argued, is attacking fans for being genuinely invested in the spectacle. Honestly, people tune in to see players thrive under intense pressure, not to hear them lament about the very attention they claim to desire.
So the WNBA says they want to get paid more. They're saying this year they're going to make $1 billion. That's what they're saying, okay? For the first time ever. Now that Caitlin Clark is hurt for 2 weeks, did you see ticket prices? Insane.
Smith didn't just highlight the sheer absurdity of the veteran's claims, he also shrewdly questioned whether she even truly understood the intense scrutiny that invariably accompanies being a public figure, let alone a professional athlete speaking out on profoundly controversial topics. Speaking out comes with consequences, often immediate and far-reaching, especially in today's hyper-connected world of instant reactions and endless debate. Smith noted that her response to the inevitable backlash, a perplexing mix of defensiveness and emotionally charged posts, only exacerbated the situation, deepening the chasm between her and the fans, painting her as utterly unprepared for the fame she seemingly craved.
When it comes to Caitlin Clark, now I've taken hits because I was calling it from day one. You got people that are resentful towards her, but it's really not about her, guys. It's about what she represents.
This girl, the golden goose, comes along and she wreaks havoc, Smith asserted, his voice dripping with incredulity as he referred to Clark. She's the rookie of the year. She's 4th in the league in MVP voting. Outstanding. She's like Steph Curry. She could pull up from anywhere. He has that kind of capability. Rather than clarify her intentions or attempt to calm the roiling waters, the veteran came across as wholly unprepared to handle the inevitable fallout from her own words, surprisingly fragile under the intense glare. Public figures, Smith argued with conviction, have a fundamental responsibility to own their statements and grasp the profound influence they wield, a crucial responsibility he strongly suggested she was failing to grasp.
Caitlin Clark's absence is having an immediate impact beyond the court. According to data shared by Yahoo Sports via TickPick, prices for 2 specific Indiana Fever away games against the Chicago Sky and the Washington Mystics dropped sharply after Clark was sidelined.
Smith's takedown wasn't just about holding her accountable, it resonated deeply with the public because of how profoundly grounded it was in the broader context of gratitude and perspective. He didn't resort to cheap shots or yelling, he simply allowed the stark, uncomfortable facts to speak for themselves, letting them hit with brutal force. Her words, viewed through the astonishing lens of her incredible rescue, sounded utterly disconnected from reality. Fans, understandably, weren't shy about noticing this painful disconnect. By reminding everyone of the extraordinary events that transpired to bring her back home, Smith masterfully redirected the focus back to core values of gratitude and perspective. His piercing analysis highlighted what was truly at stake, not just for the veteran, but for the WNBA as a whole, caught in the midst of its most pivotal moment.
Before the injury, the lowest ticket available for Fever's matchup in Chicago was $86. For the game in Washington, fans needed at least $41 to get in. After the news of Clark's absence, those get-in prices fell to $25 from $86 and $14 from $41.
But what does this explosive controversy truly mean for the WNBA? And how can the league move forward from such a jarring, self-inflicted wound? If a league genuinely wants fans, if it truly wants to explode in growth, its players must embody a core level of professionalism, a commitment to the bigger picture. The league, metaphorically speaking, already started underwater, financially struggling for years, and instead of patching its long-standing holes, these comments felt like more deliberate punctures, sabotaging its own fragile boat. Consider the stark, undeniable reality. She talking all that trash. As Smith bluntly put it, we traded the Merchant of Death for your and you're out there talking and saying racist on the freaking sideline, and it's disgusting.
But let's just call
Candace
a spade
Parker.
a spade here.
Yeah.
Sure. WNBA's trash.
No,
Straight,
I'm not gonna say that.
this is my opinion.
Okay.
This is my opinion.
Okay.
It's a zombie company. It loses money. Nobody's going to the game. Thank God they get Caitlin Clark. She's injured for 2 weeks. All of a sudden, attendance goes down. This is not going to work long term.
It's a harsh truth, but one that undeniably resonates with a large, frustrated segment of the viewing public. Caitlin Clark's presence in the WNBA isn't merely the story of a young athlete shattering records. It's a transformative movement that's fundamentally reshaping the entire league, breaking through long-standing barriers. Her arrival has redefined what was thought possible for women's basketball, dragging it into the mainstream. Clark isn't just playing well, she's making people take notice in ways the league has simply never witnessed before, attracting eyeballs and dollars like never before.
The fact that, by the way, how can you say I'm sitting there and people are yelling? Thousands of people. It's distracting. You're playing basketball in an arena. It doesn't make sense, Tom. They're doomed.
The WNBA has audaciously spoken of aspiring to make $1 billion, a financial milestone previously deemed utterly unthinkable for the league. Now, with Clark as its driving force, it feels startlingly within reach. You see it in the cold, hard stats, the soaring attendance figures, and the palpable, almost electric excitement surrounding every single game she's involved in. Take the startling, immediate impact of her brief absence due to injury. Ticket prices for her away games against formidable teams like the Chicago Sky and Washington Mystics plummeted immediately after she was sidelined. Before her injury, a ticket for her Chicago matchup commanded at least $86, for Washington, $41. After news of her absence, those prices fell sharply to $25 and $14 respectively, a direct, undeniable link to her market value. This isn't just a win for Clark, it's an undeniable, irrefutable win for the entire league. But with this unprecedented excitement comes profound change, and not every player appears ready or perhaps even willing to wholeheartedly embrace this seismic transition.
You'll see this long term. Ain't nobody going to WNBA games. Vinny, who won the championship last year? You don't even know. Who's the yeah, you're a professional sports fan. Come on. Tom, who's the leading player in the league right now, WNBA?
The central tension now lies in the perceived resentment toward Clark. It's not necessarily about her as an individual, but rather what she powerfully represents. A monumental, transformative shift in visibility, attention, and financial opportunity for everyone. Clark has injected a fresh, vibrant, almost chaotic energy into the WNBA by drawing in new fans, many of whom previously had absolutely no interest in women's basketball. Her record-breaking performances, combined with her bold, unapologetic personality and fiery, relentless style, make her impossible to ignore. Fans have responded loudly, literally changing the soundscape of the arenas. Attendance at WNBA games has soared, and games featuring Clark are seeing unprecedented ticket price spikes, even for away games.
And what I was saying to everybody is ride the wave. Rising tide lifts all boats. The girl is spectacular. It's not like she's not a scrub. She's not only can play, she's a star caliber player who draws this attention. And maybe it's because that fan base that she has and her being a young white lady contributes to it. So what? Benefit from it.
What truly distinguishes Clark's burgeoning fan base isn't just its sheer size, it's its unique, often boisterous energy. These are casual sports fans, perhaps even first-timers to WNBA games, bringing a new, raw, unfiltered vibe to the league. They are louder, more emotional, and more engaged than the league's traditional, typically quieter audience. Some players naturally thrive on that kind of boisterous support. Others, like the veteran, seem visibly put off by it, almost annoyed by the clamor.
Without them pushing Caitlin Clark and them advertising and marketing and putting her on TV, nobody cares about the WNBA. Diana Taurasi did the exact same thing Caitlin Clark is doing. Shoots threes, makes assists, and, does her thing. But nobody cared.
Her comments about fan noise being light racism stood out as particularly tone-deaf, especially when you consider the composition of these new supporters. They weren't booing or heckling, they were cheering wildly, buying tickets, and introducing their children to the sport, pouring money and passion into the league. It felt utterly misguided for her to take issue with this, given how desperately the WNBA needs precisely that kind of fervent, engaged attention. Clark, meanwhile, has navigated this intense, often overwhelming spotlight with remarkable grace and seamless adaptability. Instead of shrinking under the immense weight of new fans and relentless media coverage, she has leaned into it, solidifying her status as a megastar with every performance, growing bolder with each passing game. Contrast that with the uneasy, almost resistant way the veteran has responded to the very same increased attention, and the gap between their approaches becomes starkly, painfully clear. It's hard not to conclude that for someone like the veteran, who has been in the league for years, this sudden, overwhelming shift feels jarring and perhaps deeply unwelcome, a disruption to her familiar world. Clark's rise represents a new era, one where players will either adapt to the relentless demands of widespread fame and commercial appeal, or risk getting left behind in the dust. The undeniable truth is that Caitlin Clark has been a net positive for the WNBA. Her star power is undeniably lifting the entire league, even if it's also inadvertently revealing painful cracks in how some players are choosing to deal with this newfound spotlight. Change is rarely easy, but Clark has clearly demonstrated that it's powerfully possible to transform it into an unprecedented opportunity for everyone. The burning question now is, can everyone else adapt? As Stephen A. Smith aptly put it, ride the wave, a rising tide lifts all boats. The girl is spectacular. She's not a scrub, she's a star caliber player who draws this attention, and maybe it's because that fan base that she has, and her being a young white lady contributes to it, so what? Benefit from it. The WNBA stands at a truly pivotal moment, one that could definitively shape its entire future. With Caitlin Clark igniting levels of attention the league has rarely, if ever, witnessed, there exists massive, almost unimaginable potential for explosive growth. But this unprecedented potential comes hand in hand with undeniable challenges, internal and external. The veteran's recent remarks and the subsequent public backlash starkly illustrate how some players may struggle, perhaps even fundamentally resist, this new era of intense fan engagement and relentless media scrutiny. For years, the WNBA battled tirelessly, relentlessly for relevance. Now, with Clark leading the charge, it has it in spades. A golden opportunity it has dreamed of for decades. The league's success now hinges entirely on whether its existing stars can wholeheartedly embrace this blinding spotlight, or if they will remain weighed down by perceived slights and distracting internal friction, allowing their own success to be derailed. One thing remains absolutely certain: Caitlin Clark isn't letting up. Her unstoppable momentum is reshaping what's possible for women's basketball, fundamentally altering its trajectory and potential. The WNBA's ultimate future will hinge entirely on how its players, its leading figures, choose to rise, adapt, and seize this extraordinary moment, or tragically falter under this newfound, intense, and inescapable spotlight.